Gleason's Flat Earth map. Gleason's new standard map of the world, and this is Alexander Gleason's map. I just found that out, and I just downloaded his book in PDF form. I have not read it yet, but I looked at a few things, and I do believe this guy was a flat earther, and there was a big flat earth movement in the late 1800s, both science-based and Bible-based. So I'll check that out. I think he wanted to replace all the globes in schools with this map or something like that, and he had some patents involving this time dial thing right here, and he wanted to get this map patented, especially for time zones and things like that. You can see there's 24 numbers going around here. These small little numbers goes up to 24 hours. But there's 4 main things I found out. I printed this out. Originally, I got this table in my dining room. I wanted to get the map part of it as big as this, but they couldn't do it. I'll try some other places. Maybe I'll do it later. And then I wanted to laminate it and have this as my dining table so I could unbrainwash myself from the globe view. But there's 4 things I want to look at real quick now. And this is, by the way, this is 2 feet wide and 3 feet tall. I'm going to hang this on the wall. So for those who don't know, this was made in 1892. This comes from the Boston Public Library. This is, as far as I know, an authentic map of Alexander Gleason. Okay, scientifically and practically correct as it is. And the map portion may be in azimuthal equidistant map, which means they start at the North Pole and just kind of go down, and that's what it would be like based off a globe. But it doesn't say that necessarily. It doesn't say that. So he may have got his map projections from that, but I think he believed this was the most accurate map, and it is a flat Earth map. So that's the first point I want to say. This is not just your average, like the UN uses this map and things like that, and they'll say there's like 6 government agencies that use what we think is a flat Earth map, but they'll say it's a azimuthal equidistant map. It's just a different projection of a globe. That's what they'll say. But this guy, let's look at this very carefully. That is a well, he explains what it is. If you can read that, it's kind of fuzzy. In the figures, June and December, the white represents the sun's position. The white is the sun's position in his respective months at noon. So if it's noon, that's noon right there, and the sun is there. That's what he's saying, basically, which would be over here somewhere. This shows sunlight inside the Arctic Circle for 24 hours. So you get the 24-hour sun here because there's always a patch of light. This entire thing would move around. As the sun moves, the light moves with it. But look at the next sentence. From June 21st, the sun moves around the tropics in a spiral circle, widening every day. And look at this. The sun moves. Does it say the earth moves? No, it says the sun moves round the tropics in a spiral circle. So that's proof right there. This is a flat earth map. This guy was a flat earther because he says the sun moves. If you have a heliocentric worldview, the earth moves, and that explains the sun's movements. But here it says the sun moves till it reaches its destiny on the southern or outer solstice on December 21st. Okay, so that's saying basically the sun moves around, and over the year the sun's path gets wider. Okay, so here's the December solstice, December 21st. The sun moves. Again, the sun moves. around the Tropic of Capricorn, and during the day lights up the southern portion of the Earth from the Arctic Circle to some portion of the Antarctic ice. Okay. There is no sunlight beyond 80 degrees south, but unknown regions of ice. So below 80 degrees south, there's no sunlight. That's why there's still ice down there. It doesn't melt. There's no sunlight to melt the ice. That's why we have this shape, because the sun goes around in a circle, melting the ice underneath it. And if there's no sunlight, the ice remains. Sun goes back up north, completes its seasons. Okay, so this is the flat Earth cosmology right here that we're talking about. Okay, and luckily, just so happens, let there be light. Yay! Okay, so this is our sun. It's just a lamp above us on the ceiling. So, okay, so the sun's coming over. Sunrise probably around, say you're in the East Coast of the United States. You'll see the sunrise. And the sun, say it's the sun would be about 4,000 miles above us. If you triangulate the distance that the sun lights up on the Earth, that's what people do. They triangulate the light. You can figure out how high the triangle is and all that. So 4,000 miles above us, it's sunrise, and then now it's noon on the East Coast. Okay, now it's going around. You know, in the summer, there's enough light to fill the North Pole at all times. So the sun going around, and then over the seasons, heading into the winter, in December, the sun has a wider path, which is the Capricorn, Tropic of Capricorn. I'm not doing a perfect circle, I'm just using that image of the light. What happened there? It's an eclipse. And that's why it's summer down in Australia. So the sun just circles above the Earth like that. Okay? And the Bible says the firmament is the heavens. So there's some kind of region. There's probably, it's probably a division between this terrarium of Earth, the atmosphere, and then there's the heavens. And the stars and the sun are in there. The Bible doesn't say God created billions of suns. The astronomers say the sun is just another star. The Bible says, Genesis, in the beginning, God created light to light the day and the light to light the night. The moon does the same thing. They're the same size. The moon has its own light, some kind of luminescence, chemical luminescence possibly, which is a real phenomenon, as is bioluminescence. And then it says God also created the stars. So why did God create billions of suns, billions of stars, and this is just another star? The suns and stars are the same thing? Well, according to my Bible, it says suns and stars are different things. There's one sun and a whole bunch of stars, and it also says stars are angels. Stars are angels. Pretty mind-blowing, but that's what's going on. One more thing I got to show you. So the three things I found interesting: the explanations of this. Number two, the explanations of this, the December solstice. Now the third thing, probably can't see it. Right here it says, just pull this up on your own computer, Gleason map, Gleason flat earth map, Google it, you'll find it easily. It says here, perpendicular barrier of ice. I didn't notice that until I printed this thing out. 2 feet by 3 feet. I don't know if you can even see that on the computer or not. Zoom in on that baby. Perpendicular barrier of ice, otherwise known as the ice wall. 1892. This guy was talking about right here. Patent allowed, November 15th, 1892. This guy was talking about the ice wall. It's right here on his map. And then it says here, appearance of land. Antarctica, people only really even found it only about 100 years ago. You can read the history of exploration of Antarctica. There's just tons of ice. It's really hard to get to. It's cold, it's dark, and people get lost in the southern hemisphere because they use a globe model, which doesn't make sense. It gets wider out here. People say like it gets narrow, but the longitude gets wider in the southern hemisphere. Okay? So yeah, there could be parts where there's no wall. There could be just regular shoreline. There's a bunch of islands. People didn't even know. They'd go here. Where's south in New Zealand, and especially down here, there'd be all these islands and stuff, and they think they found it. They heard rumors of a continent, and they'd go there, and it turns out they were just on an island. It took them forever to find Antarctica. I mean, just only 100 years ago. They discovered the New World a long time ago. So that's the third thing. And the fourth thing I found interesting was that this is a flat Earth map. Okay, and I'm going to read this guy's book and report back. And one more thing I want to mention is they did teach flat Earth in school, in elementary school. Where I went to school, and I think everywhere, they do teach the flat Earth. But it's an incorrect flat Earth. It's a deceptive flat Earth. Because what they tell us is that Columbus was going to go discover America. He was going to sail off. They were afraid he was going to fall off the edge of the earth. Well, of course, that doesn't make sense. All the water would drain out. So that's the flat earth model they told us. And that everyone who believed in that was stupid, because they would be, right? That doesn't even make sense. But they said that's what people believed, which they did not. Even in 1892, they knew about the ice wall. And before that, okay, they were teaching us an incorrect model of the flat earth and saying, well, that doesn't exist, so therefore it must be a globe, which is stupid. The globe makes no sense. It's never been proven. There's no gravity. All these things. The first live images of outer space were faked, which has been proven. Smoking gun, BBC. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon. They show them in a movie studio faking images of Earth from space. People were waiting for that moment to really know the Earth was a planet, and it was fake. That's the real reason for the moon mission, was to fake the image of a globe. They don't want people to believe in a world that God created. They want people to believe it was an accidental Big Bang, just which doesn't even make sense either. So, the ice wall. That's what, and also, okay, so that's what they told us. They told us the flat earth is stupid. People would fall off the edge of the world, and that's what people believed. And if you believe in that, nobody wants to be stupid, right? So when you tell people, hey, actually, the world is flat, first thing they think of, because they've been conditioned and programmed and brainwashed since birth, the first thing they think of is Columbus sailing off the edge of the world, or ships sailing off the edge of the world, and some, monster or something. Then they just laugh. Oh, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard, because that's what we were told. It's the stupidest thing ever. And you don't want to be stupid like that. You don't want to be an idiot. You don't want to be ridiculed and laughed at. I learned as a very young child to ridicule and laugh at anyone who believed in a flat earth. I was taught that. And so was everybody, and everybody is taught that around the world. That's one of the first things you learn in school, is to ridicule and laugh at people who believe in a flat earth. It wasn't just like, hey, this is 1892. Why not show us, hey, here's Gleason came up with this idea. That's kind of interesting. Maybe he's onto something. And here's the Galileo globe. Let's look at that. Okay, some interesting points here and there. What do you think, students? What makes more sense to you? Well, actually, I like this ice wall idea, and everything's just right here. It makes sense, right? I used to live in Japan. 2 times, I clearly remember, we made emergency stops in Alaska. Look at this on a globe. Luckily, I do not have a globe in my house, but on a globe, I think this would be more of a straight line here. And the first time it happened, I thought, what the hell are we doing over Alaska? And that's why you can fly from Tokyo to New York nonstop. It's not so far. Look at all these flights, okay? So, Anyway, I wanted to point that out. I'm kind of excited. It's really cool. This is high gloss. It cost about 20 bucks, I guess. Very cool to have this thing printed out. I'm going to read his book, Alexander Gleason. It's called, I forget what it's called. It's kind of a long title. It's something about is the Bible real and is the earth a globe? Something like that. I have it though. I'm going to start reading it. I will report back because I never heard about this guy's book. I just heard about this guy's first name today. Okay, I've seen this map. Everyone's seen this map before. And I just found out about this perpendicular wall of ice. I never saw that before. And there's a lot to this map, actually. There's a lot of stuff to think about and look at. I'll report back. And I kind of read these before, but it didn't really sink in that he was saying the sun moves twice. The sun moves. I didn't really know until today that this was a flat earth map. I didn't know the guy who made it was a flat earther. Now I know that. Okay, so this was this guy's best attempt to make a flat earth map. It's not just your average run-of-the-mill azimuthal equidistant map. And it's pretty cool. Alright guys. And if anyone still believes in the globe, don't go outside because you're going to get, there's going to be 1,000-mile-per-hour winds out there. So just don't leave the house, whatever you do, because the Earth is spinning at 1,040 miles per hour, and there's no way, it's just totally impossible that gravity or friction would drag the atmosphere along with it. So you're going to run into some real problems out there. You know, you may even be